Welcome back to the show. Here are tonight's guests. He's so sharp, his head is often used to slice pizza. Fox News chief national correspondent Ed Henry. She's so bright she sneezes fireflies. Washington Times columnist Madison Jessiato. He's as tough as a Rubik's Cube and every bit as colorful. U.S. Army Special Forces member Terry Shepard. And when the chips are down, she eats them with guac. National Review reporter Catherine Tim. But first, all right, 17 days to go before Courtney Thorne Smith's birthday. We didn't love a little Melrose Place. But also, it's 17 days to the election. So I bet early voting is underway, so make sure to send your ballot. We can't take a chance.
Early voting is underway, so make sure you send in your ballot. We cannot take a chance of blowing it. We cannot take a chance.
Meantime, this week, Chris Wallace managed to find the high road in a sewer. By maintaining order, we saw both choices in full glory. An arrogant woman dressed as a cult leader from the future, it's on the right, and a defiant showman who listens to no one, not even his barber. The result in actual debate, one so smooth you could slide down it without a splinter on your naked butt. I tried. Not many surprises. Trump said wrong a lot, and Hillary creepily smiled like one of those old dolls you find in your grandmother's attic that comes to life at night and sits on your chest while you sleep. We all had them. But there was some good debating in there.
I voted for border security in the United States Senate. I don't want to rip families apart. I don't want to be sending parents away from children.
We have to have strong borders. We have to keep the drugs out of our country.
And then there was all of the puppet bashing.
He has no respect for her.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
But the one thing everyone seemed to agree on was Chris Wallace. Wallace not only was a great moderator, his moderating got us all to agree that he was a great moderator. And really, nobody agrees on anything these days. Maybe we really can all get along after this ends, because no matter who wins, everyone must accept the outcome.
I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
I love that. All right. Trump later clarified,
I would like to promise and pledge to all of my voters and supporters and to all of the people of the United States that I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
apparently that works with my audience. All right. A lot's been made of this as if Donald messing with the process is some new revelation. But that's Trump. He doesn't want you to know what he's up to. It's the opposite of Hillary, who tells ISIS when we're coming and what we'll be wearing. So, just 17 days left. What's next? A lot can happen in 3 weeks. It's the lifespan of a drone ant. They never work much, then they die once they mate with females. Reminds me of One Direction. Of course, shoes will continue to drop. It'll be like an orgy at a centipede strip club. But what of the Republican Party? After this, counseling will be needed, or it's divorce court. We already know who's getting the House. It's the Dems. If the Republicans don't act fast to fix this mess, they'll lose their shirts too, and no one needs to see Mitch McConnell topless. Ed, Trump would, if he loses... No puppet. Do you think will he accept a loss? Like, let's say it's close.
Yeah.
Let's say it's not a blowout and it's close. Do you think he'll accept it?
No, I think it's pretty clear that he's going to talk about, voting irregularities, and he's laying the groundwork now to say that he thinks the system is rigged. That feeds into kind of the anger that he has been talking about throughout the entire campaign. And I think unless it's a landslide that he just simply cannot deny, and frankly, I think the polls are closer than we're seeing right now. This race is not over. Because I think that it's pretty clear that there is anger out there. And so people can say, oh, this is done, this is done, this is done. Nobody's voted yet.
I'd like to congratulate Ed on playing up to the crowd like that.
I had no idea.
There you go. All right, Madison. Madison, do you agree with Ed? I mean, this kind of like wishful thinking that this could actually turn out to be closer than expected?
Well, first of all, I think he's going to win.
Oh, really?
So, but
I do too.
So wait, I have an agreement.
I think he's going to win.
I'm going to get in trouble.
But if it's close, I think he would be smart to contest it, because I don't think a lot of the media outlets are really reporting some of the voter fraud instances that we've seen. They're only reporting voter impersonation. They're not talking about some of the other instances of it.
Like
so
what?
I mean, people using dead people to vote. That's, I mean, not exactly.
Physically bringing them.
How about voter registration issues when you're registering?
But there's one pretty comprehensive...
Voting twice.
There's one comprehensive study on this that looked at like at 1 billion instances of voting and found 30.
That 30 number is the voter impersonation fraud number. There's other instances like people voting twice.
How many
like that.
do you think there are?
Well, say it's within a couple thousand votes, right? Like we've seen in maybe a few other
Over the country?
In certain states that could change the electoral map. If that happens, I think he's very smart to contest it, because those instances could make that difference. If I was running for president, I would do that.
All right. Terry, what worries me is that he's going to say it no matter what.
Yep, exactly.
Now, I want to. You still hold out hope that Donald is going to win?
First of all, it's not hope. No, I have no hope. First of all, by the way, I'm not a member of the U.S. Army Special Forces now. I'm a former member. I officially retired October 10th. So.
Well, congratulations. Or I should say thank you. I should say thank you.
All of you, especially you, Kat, are welcome for your freedom. So I love saying that. No, so here's the thing. It's not about hope. You and I have been talking about this for, it feels like freaking years.
It has.
Donald Trump, anyway. To me, Donald Trump is not the savior of anything. I know who he is. I've always thought he was a snake oil salesman. And I'm not, if you're looking for a moral candidate, you're wasting your time in the election. Simple stuff now. Let's just say they're both really bad. I think she's worse.
Yeah.
Because for her whole time, she has gotten rich and made deals at the behest of the American taxpayer as a public, quote-unquote, servant. Trump, whether he's a jerk or not, he's a private businessman. Okay. Let's just say, though, they're equally bad people. Who's going to mess with guns less? Donald Trump. Who is going to actually stand up for cops? Because the Dems throw them under all the time. Donald Trump. That's it for me. I would actually vote for Pee Wee Herman over Hillary. It's more about stopping Hillary Clinton than it is Donald Trump. I don't really care.
All right. That was impassioned. Your hands are going to be tired by the end of this show. How many times have I said that? Kat, this is kind of the logic that I used last week, where I said that if you have one issue that you hold dear, like terror, then you should vote that whether or not the person is a jerk or not, and that being a jerk doesn't matter. How do you feel about the fact that you are outnumbered? You are the one unlucky girl.
Isn't that the truth? No, maybe all that stuff's happening, or maybe it's not, and there'd have to be a lot of that going on for it to really impact an election that much. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. I could go out tonight and have a wonderful night, or I could go out tonight and get hit by a bus. We don't really know.
Yes.
America
I know.
could hit, yeah. You're
I know
driving the bus?
Bus drivers will try to hit you.
In terms of Trump accepting it, this is what I've said this before, and I really wonder if he's going to do a thing like how George Costanza pretends he didn't quit.
Yes.
And he just goes to the White House anyway, like he has the job. I'm here to be your president, America.
And nobody's going to tell him to go home because they don't want to hurt his feelings.
So that's the plan.
And that would be good TV, believe me, I can tell you.
No one would make him stop. It's too entertaining.
Yeah.
That's so
you know what I learned? Okay, there's many things that I have problems with about Trump, and you could go on forever about Hillary. But I think this is the year that the right stole from the left, in the sense that the left always exercised hyperbole. For example, if you were a conservative, you want back alley abortions. It's always the right, they want to bring back Jim Crow. Like if you're a conservative, you just want to do awful things. This is kind of the first time that the Republican is actually giving it back. And that's kind of, I think people aren't used to that, so they're screaming, Ed, about polarization and that the world's going to hell and everybody's freaking out. No, it's actually the right is starting to act left.
It used to be like people will say, if you call her Hillary, it's sexist, or if you call her secretary, it's sexist. He just comes straight up and, crooked Hillary.
Yes.
He only calls her crooked Hillary, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
He embraced his inner polarization or something. I mean, Donald Trump goes to these debates, and politics is about addition, not subtraction. And he goes there and says things that will rally his base more rather than reaching to the middle or trying to bring in Democrats. We're going to find out pretty soon whether that was a bad political strategy or not. But he is who he is, and I think that's a large reason why his supporters like him. He's authentic. He's not poll tested. He's not going to say.
He doesn't seem to care, does he?
And it doesn't matter to him.
The problem is you got to expand your base, right, Madison?
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. He's doing what everybody knows that every candidate does behind closed doors. He's being himself in front of everybody. So I think that's a good thing, and he's attracted new voters to the Republican Party.
If you had,
yeah, but not enough. That's the scary part.
I think he's had a hard time actually with who should have been his base, a lot of conservatives.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he kind of smoothed things out with them on the debate on Wednesday.
but if his political advisors went into him right now, what would they say he needs to do? Well, he needs to do a lot better with women voters right now, and he needs to do better with minorities, right? And cut into Hillary Clinton's lead with both. He's not going to win.
He's got eight. He's got how many days to
But what does he do on Friday?
Yeah.
But what does he do on Friday? He beats on Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
An African-American woman. So it's the two groups that he really wants to get.
Yeah.
He goes right at it. And so he rejects their advice. Now, maybe he's going to shock the world, or maybe people are going to say, you know what? You just didn't follow the right playbook.
A quick thing about that, though.
Sure.
That seems like the logic, but what has these polls in the last year been right? They got Brexit wrong. They got Trump wrong. They've never been more polls about more things that have been more often more wrong. And so I feel like people are accepting as fact.
Well, that's why I said that at the beginning. I wasn't rooting for Trump when you said, "Oh, you're hoping that it's a close race." No, I'm saying that I just don't believe the polls. I don't believe that they're completely wrong and that it's really
of course,
a 20-point Trump lead or something, but it's tighter.
We got to take a break. 3 weeks is a long time. That's like the average length of a Hollywood wedding. It's about the same length of a Trump advisor. Ooh, he made a joke about Trump. All right, I'm kidding. I love you. Coming up, a story so shocking your hair will stand on end, unless of course you're bald, Terry. More leaks and dumps from the folks at Wiki. Who's their next target? Could it be you? Probably. It makes me feel icky, yet we must speak of Wiki. WikiLeaks continues to dump batches of emails stolen, not hacked, from the account of Clinton campaign chair John Podesta, and I still hate it. I don't even like him, but I hate WikiLeaks. Someday it's going to happen to me and you, and I'm not looking forward to it. Still, some things we learned this week, and I got to report it or else I get in trouble. The Clinton campaign considered 84 different slogans before settling on Stronger Together, which oddly is the same slogan of my nude rock climbing team. Those were the days. Some others were time for a better bargain, a promise you can count on, no quit, which makes no sense, keep moving, and of course, Greg has awesome pecs. No argument there, America. We also learned from the stolen emails that the King of Morocco, they have a king, agreed to give $12 million to the Clinton Foundation, provided it held a major event in his country with Clinton speaking. In one email, Huma Abedin, you remember her, warned that if Clinton didn't go, the money would be off the table, writing, quote, if HRC was not part of it, meeting was a non-starter. She created this mess and she knows it. Wow, what a wiener. Finally, the reason I hate WikiLeaks even more this week, they released what they claim to be emails from a private address of President Obama. That's a first and pretty amazing. For more on this, let's check in with our tech correspondent, Paul Oinkerton. That was beautiful. All right. Terry.
Yeah, what do you got? Can I interrupt you before you ask? What's the difference? There's a difference between hacked and stolen. I'm serious.
Yeah, hacking is stealing.
Right.
So you know.
Oh, I agree. I thought you were saying that they're not the same. Okay,
I agree. They're the same. Okay.
Absolutely agree.
Don't try to evade my question. 1982, Terry, Soviet spies broke into an American government office in Washington, D.C., and they stole thousands and thousands of written correspondence between the president and officials. And they fed them. The spies fed them to the left-wing press, who then gleefully reported it. How is that different than this, my friend? I made that story up.
You're kind of acting like you're sort of acting like I'm part of this crap.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, I get it, bro.
It's the same thing.
We've been talking about WikiLeaks a long time. I remember when Assange came out a while back, and he was like, he's not. Listen, if
He's
you
a
think
bad actor.
If you think Assange is pro-American, you're an idiot.
Yes.
Okay, so get over that.
He's just using this.
But I think, and again, be careful when you ride the dragon, because the dragon will turn around and bite you. Okay,
Yes.
so right now everyone's like, Assange, he's our friend. No, he's not. But I will say this. Isn't it frickin' pathetic that Assange and WikiLeaks, if the Russians and Dr. Evil and everybody else is doing this, they're doing the job of the FBI. They really are. Like,
do you want the FBI to steal your emails?
No, but I want some. But I want someone to give a crap.
But
and you know, I haven't seen that yet. So all of a sudden, listen, we already knew. We knew this is the way they talked. We knew this is the way they operated.
Yes.
But now you're like, hey man, look at the naked disdain and like.
But to your point, we knew. I know, Kat, you wanted to. We knew how they think. I should be allowed to talk trash about my boss or talk
totally
about.
right.
You have to have
This
privacy.
is a dangerous road.
Hypocrisy saves you from war.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a hypocrite. You're supposed to be nice to your boss and then go, he's a jackass, because that keeps the peace, Kat.
Right, we don't have any other option now that it's out there, but to talk about it, okay? Not just because you're getting told to, but imagine if you had a friend call you up and say, I went through my boyfriend's phone. I found out that he's sleeping with my mother. Would you say, well, yeah, you should. I don't want to talk about this. You shouldn't have been going through his phone. I mean, come on. Like, you shouldn't have, but that's the same argument.
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
good
no
point.
one should go through the phones, but we've already know about
It's
all
still
the
wrong.
mother with sleeping.
It's still wrong.
Metaphorically.
It's still immoral.
But Terry raised a fair point, which is, how did the FBI not find any emails if at least this one exists?
Yeah.
You don't think there are any others that suggest some sort of back scratching with the Clinton Foundation? It seems
What's wrong with
remarkable.
back scratching?
Back scratching's nice. My point is, $12 million. You know, there was a big media outcry recently about Bill Clinton getting $1 million for the Clinton Foundation from Qatar. And it was on his birthday, number one. And number two, for the $1 million, they wanted 5 minutes of FaceTime with the former president. Okay, well, that's this is $12 million that Hillary Clinton solicited from the King of Morocco. What do you think he wanted? He's thinking she might be the next president of the United States.
Right.
He wanted access.
Yes.
And that's pretty remarkable, number one.
Right.
And number two, how angry is Bernie Sanders right now? I mean, he was yelling at Hillary Clinton about the Goldman Sachs speeches that were like $350,000 a pop. The Moroccans are paying.
Yeah,
$12 million.
right.
Where are the transcripts for the Moroccan speeches? $12 million. I mean, it's a pretty bad impersonation. But the point is,
that's pretty good.
Also, Goldman Sachs has to feel pretty good right now. They got a bargain.
Yeah, okay. Before I move to you, Madison,
nice
really quick, you could argue, one, that the $12 million were going to a foundation that would help kids. That's what the Dems would say. But the most important thing I want to ask you, better have an answer to this.
Oh, me?
Are presidents allowed to have personal email? This whole thing about they found President Obama, is that, I thought that they weren't allowed.
At the beginning of the Obama administration, there was a big fight about this. President Obama insisted he wanted to have some email contact with a select number of aides, and they used a pseudonym so that if anyone ever hacked it, stole it, whatever, they wouldn't know conclusively that it was Barack Obama. What we learned this week were some emails back and forth with John Podesta when he was president-elect during the transition. So technically, not commander-in-chief, talking about his cabinet, and it was B. Obama at something or other.
Yeah.
But currently, my understanding is he does not have Barack.Obama at Gmail. But it might be out there. You know.
All right, Madison, I don't like looking at these emails because I know it's going to happen to us. And it's going to happen to you, Miss Ohio, right? People are interested in you. When you become super famous, they're going to look at all your emails.
They're not going to see much, so I'm not too concerned about that.
But that's the wrong argument.
No, but here's the thing. I think privacy rights are very important, so I'm the same way as you in terms of I'm not a huge fan of WikiLeaks, but at the same time, what's coming out is also very important. And like Kat said, it's out there. There's not much we can do. And what this raises for me is going back to the FBI. I do have great respect for our FBI, but there's something not right. If a hacker is getting this information so easily and our FBI just seems to miss over everything.
So the FBI should be hacking, is what we're saying.
No, but they should have done a more efficient job in their investigation. They should have done a more efficient job.
And by the way, I'm not saying.
And they released 111 emails, I think, today. One of them shows that Hillary tried to erase classified information. Well, that was from the FBI, right?
Well, she had classified information they found, and she forwarded this email to someone who worked at her home in Chappaqua and said, "Please print." It had classified information on it. Presumably, the guy who worked in her house in Chappaqua didn't have a security clearance, number one. But number two, I just want to be clear. We're not saying the FBI should have barged down Huma Abedin's door. I am not saying that. But
God knows what you would find. There'd be Anthony Weiner with his trunks down by his ankle, looking at God knows what.
There was a criminal investigation. They could have issued subpoenas. and gotten some information.
They could have done a lot more than they did.
Right.
Isn't it funny though how we're always talking about stuff like, I'm not saying the FBI is bad because we're worried. We're actually afraid of the FBI. Yet there's a lot of I know dudes in the FBI, but the FBI is kind of taking some nosebleeds. Do they still know where Omar Martin's wife is? They don't know.
All right, coming up, a story so vibrant you could use it as a handy neck massager. Did the dinner decide a winner? Candidates trade barbs at the Al Smith dinner. Yeah, Al Smith. He gets his own dinner. Great guy. A charity meant for hilarity ended in barbarity. It was a feast with a priest and a mark of the beast. And it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. On Thursday, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had one last showdown before the election at the annual Al Smith charity dinner in New York City. Traditionally, the event is a lighthearted affair, a chance for the candidates to take a break from the heated campaign, to poke fun at themselves and each other. But the real star of the night, Maria Bartiromo's white gloves. Yes. After that, it turned into a roast. Trump went first.
It's great to be here with 1,000 wonderful people, or as Hillary calls it, her largest crowd of the season. She said if somehow she gets elected, she wants me to be either her ambassador to Iraq or to Afghanistan. It's my choice. Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission.
That's needed another punchline. But it started out fine, then it went dark, as shown by this man's face.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission.
That's oh my God.
I gotta watch that one more time.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission.
Oh, man.
Then it was Hillary's turn.
It's amazing I'm up here after Donald. I didn't think he'd be okay with a peaceful transition of power. Donald, after listening to your speech, I will also enjoy listening to Mike Pence deny that you ever gave it. People look at the Statue of Liberty and they see a proud symbol. Donald looks at the Statue of Liberty and sees a 4. I am so flattered that Donald thought I used some sort of performance enhancer. I did. It's called preparation.
Not bad. They're booing. That means it hurts. Let's see that guy's face again.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission.
You know what that face is? That's the face when you realize it just wasn't flatulence. We all been there. Usually it's always on a hike. Ed.
That's Juan Williams, his face during the 5, watching you up close. Did Greg really say that?
Who had better material?
Hillary Clinton had better material there. I know it's, you accused me of playing to the crowd before. Now I'm taking this crowd on. Donald Trump had a golden opportunity, which is that, I talked before about tapping into the anger, and he's got people saying, why doesn't he show humility more? Why doesn't he, say, I want to reach out? The Al Smith dinner is the perfect place for diplomacy. Man ran for president a long time ago. It's a Catholic audience where people come together around faith, charity. And he started out good. He also had a great joke, by the way, Donald Trump, about Michelle Obama gives a speech. Everyone loves it. My wife gives the same speech, and you hate it because of the plagiarism. That was awesome. But then after that, the hard edge, you're supposed to burn but not singe. That's what they say at the Gridiron dinner in Washington. And I think he went a little bit far.
Also, you're supposed to tell jokes. Like, Hillary hates Catholics is not a joke.
Yes.
You could have made it. He could have been like, knock, knock, who's there? Hillary hates Catholics. Or like, why'd the Catholic chicken cross the road to get to the side that Hillary Clinton wasn't on? Like, there's a way to do it.
That's a good one.
That's good.
I know. I don't know why you didn't hire me. But good stuff. But it's just not a joke. She hates Catholic people. Like, what do you do with that at a comedy dinner type of situation?
You have to start up and then come down, and he just went down.
Right. People are saying, what's the bias? That's why people didn't like Trump's jokes. I'm not saying that there's never bias. I'm saying they didn't like his jokes because they were not, when they started to become just not jokes.
Yeah. What do you think, Madison?
I enjoyed both.
Yeah.
I thought they were both funny. I usually don't like listening to Hillary Clinton too much, but I enjoyed her last night quite a bit. I thought they were funny. They raised a lot of money for Catholic charities. As a Catholic, I was very proud. And it was nice to see them in a different setting where they were laid back, laughing at themselves, laughing at each other, and not fighting and yelling. And
it was a break from an ugly year, Terry.
Exactly.
No.
What are you? No.
I'm Catholic also, and although we fail every day as Catholics, if understand which camera is me? Someone point. Which one? That one. Understand this, America. If you are a Catholic, the Democrat leadership hates you. They hate you, and they've been busted doing that, and that sounds really strong. And but like unless you're as a cafeteria Catholic, Tim Kaine or Pelosi or thing or not Reed, what's his name? I don't even care.
Harry Reid.
No. But here's the thing: if you ask the Little Sisters of the Poor how much the Dems love them.
Yeah.
Ask Catholic charities who actually try to abide by their rules of faith. And we just caught all those WikiLeaks, which I know we're not supposed to have because they're bad. But now we realize, Greg, how the seething disdain that the Democratic leadership has for Catholics. I mean, like, it's just so funny. It's like the press corps thing. Cute, funny little comments. That woman running for that party hates you.
You make a great point about the substance of WikiLeaks, as we were talking before. Yes, it's unseemly how these emails were stolen, but when you see the substance of let's start a Catholic spring, a revolution because of this
with these medieval rubes that don't understand
and let's
anything.
go after them.
That's what they
think
about
religious freedom? I mean,
well, wait a second. Okay, how do you think I feel being non-religious?
Same.
Do you wonder the amount?
But you're libertarian. People should be able to worship how they want to worship.
Of course,
correct?
Of course, or not worship at all.
So why tell someone you have to fix your church?
Yeah.
If you substituted Catholicism for Islam in some of the Podesta emails, it would have been a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. There's a protection. It's called Islamophobia. It's the phrase that they use whenever the media chooses to use it. There's no Catholicophobia.
They hate you too, Gutfeld, even though you're not religious because you're not on their side.
No, they just hate him because he's Gutfeld.
Yeah.
They hate you too.
They have Gutfeld phobia.
Gut phobia.
Gut phobia. There you go. I think that's a real thing. On the toilet for months. Coming up, a story so hot it will scald your brain. Plus, Kat tells us what she's angry about. Guess we'll be here all night.
Welcome back. Greg had to move his car. I'm Kat. So Donald Trump just will not stop complaining about the election being rigged. And it's true, sometimes stuff is rigged.
65 for $1. 65 for $1. For $1. 50 for $1. Might happen. 70 tie. Three-way tie. Three-way tie. Three-way tie. Three-way tie. Yes.
Really? 3 $1 spins? A coincidence or a genius publicity stunt? Look, in terms of elections, there was evidence the DNC leaks that things were kind of rigged against Bernie Sanders. America's sweetheart, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, resigned over it. Yeah, I know. But rigged against Trump, I don't know so much. Sure. It is easier to get elected if your name is Clinton, Bush, or Kennedy. But even if we did change the election process to be perfectly fair, non-politician-y people like you and I would probably still not become president. Why? Because guess what still would be rigged? The whole rest of the world. Think about it. What is not rigged? Being fit? Rigged in favor of people with good metabolisms. Being a pro volleyball player, rigged in favor of people who are tall. Dating hot models, rigged in favor of being SEAL. So, Trump, it's fine to point out the system isn't perfect, but harping on it won't help you win. And speaking of pumpkins, get it, Trump? A study from the University of British Columbia says pumpkin spice lattes are markers of white privilege. Yeah. Apparently, it's a luxury that doesn't provide, quote, tangible extra nutrition. All right, fine. In that case, there's a lot of white privilege snacks out there. Like anything from Dairy Queen, no vitamins in blizzards, a Pepsi or Coke, Hostess snacks, Little Debbie, McDonald's, Burger King, Checkers, In-N-Out, Dunkin' Donuts, 4 cheese pizza Hot Pockets. I am covered in privilege right now. Or maybe this lady just doesn't know what she's talking about. All right. Speaking of being covered, I'm sick of having my Facebook newsfeed be covered with stupid BuzzFeed quizzes that my generation seems to be so obsessed with. I saw one called Order McDonald's to find out which Disney princess you are. That makes no sense. The only thing that Disney princesses and McDonald's have in common is that they are 2 things that grown adults should be ashamed of still enjoying. And this is coming from a woman who fully endorsed Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay biscuits last week, so keep that in mind. Thank you. Pretty nice. But these quizzes get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of clicks. Think of all the meaningful personal connections you could be making with actual people if you weren't clicking around to see which pop diva is your nemesis. The answer is none of them, because they don't know who you are. And you're wasting valuable time allowing your actual nemesis, Steve in sales, to take credit for that TPS report you spent all Sunday working on. So, my advice to all my millennial peers, forget the dumb quizzes, just get out and do instead. You know who never took one of those quizzes? Seal. He was too busy getting kissed by a rose instead. Who doesn't want that? Can I get an exclamation point, please?
Exclamation point. Well, I learned one thing, that white privilege is delicious.
Yeah.
Boy, I eat all of that stuff. Thank you, Cats.
You're welcome.
See you later. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced this year's batch of nominees, and I can sum it up in 5 words. The Monkees get screwed again. They're the greatest band to start out on a TV show, only to later become a real band. What's more rock and roll than that? That'd be like the A-Team actually becoming Soldiers of Fortune. Or John Ratzenberger actually becoming a mailman. Or Bryan Cranston becoming the world's greatest meth cook. There's still time. But no glory for the Monkees. Instead, we got 19 other nominees, including a bunch of first-time candidates: Tupac Shakur, Pearl Jam, Depeche Mode, Jane's Addiction, love Jane's Addiction, ELO, Joan Baez, the great DC band Bad Brains, and Steppenwolf, John Kay, great singer. And some previous nominees: The Cars, love them, Chaka Khan, she really turns me on, and Janet Jackson, the Jay Giles Band. Let's have more names, please. MC5, I love them, maybe not. The Zombies, love them. And yes, artists are eligible 25 years after the release of their first recording. Inductees will be announced in December, then murdered in front of a crowd of thousands. All right. Terry, who's your pick for most and least deserving?
I don't know. I saw Kraftwerk was on there. Did you see that?
I love Kraftwerk.
I love Kraftwerk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I read.
Yeah.
Is this what you just saw? So I don't know if they're on or not, Terry.
Yeah.
So you didn't answer the question. Wasting my time.
I already forgot all the ones you just
All right, Ed, is there anybody you feel should be there?
Isn't Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart one of the greatest songs?
It is one of the greatest hearts. Yeah. When I hear it, I will think of you.
That's
when I hear Owner of the Lonely Heart, I'll think that's Ed Henry's favorite song.
Can I just say, I'm mad at Kat.
Why?
Why?
Because I took that McDonald's survey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
you did?
I found out that I'm Ariel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. Or I was most like her. I mean, I don't know.
No, you're not. She's not real. And you're a grown man.
Not? Wait.
All right, Madison, you weren't even born when most of these acts were popular. Thoughts?
Okay, so I was at the Todd Rundgren concert earlier this year.
You like Todd Rundgren?
Love Todd Rundgren.
That is amazing.
He's been snubbed for so long. Yes. I know so many people agree with me, and I am very disappointed, as someone from Ohio, to not see him on
What's
this list
your favorite
again.
Todd Rundgren song?
I'm torn between 2, Just One Victory and A Dream Goes On Forever.
Wow. Hey.
And I got to see him perform them live.
Wow,
so.
that's amazing.
Jane's Addiction. I remember. Jane, that's one of my favorite bands of all time. And by the way, my first tattoo, it says nothing shocking. I put a skull.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Kat's laughing at you on the inside and outside.
Do I really think what she thinks? She doesn't like. She makes fun of fast food.
Yeah, Kat, thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I keep in mind it's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not Rock and Roll Hall of Good.
Yes,
you know?
true.
So it's just how famous you are. I like Tupac a lot, but it's not rock music, so I don't get it. If you're just gonna do music, shouldn't like Mozart and all that stuff be in there? Like,
all that stuff.
That was some pretty good music, and he's pretty famous of a guy. I don't know. I was overwhelmed with my history.
Has anyone ever noticed that the monkeys are not in there?
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to wrap this up with an interesting thought, Ed, unlike yours. It's interesting to watch rock stars age because they chose a vocation based on the glories and intentions of youth. Right. So drugs, promiscuity, fashion, risk is the commerce of youth. So you're not, once you cross the age 45, you start to look bad because you weren't supposed to make it that far. And if you continue to dress like Steven Tyler, you resemble like an aging Diane Keaton. You start to resemble an Upper East Side woman walking a Chihuahua because you got all these scarves and these hats and these chains, and it's because you just can't let go at 65 or 70 that you're still dressing like your 18-year-old self because that was your vocation. Exceptions, Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones. He dresses like a country gentleman farmer. Short hair and tweed and a cap.
Bun E. Carlos also stayed the same.
Well, he was always like that.
That's
Short, white sleeve shirt, smoking a cigarette, and roly-poly. No wonder you liked him. Final thoughts from our guests to wrap up tonight's show. Final thoughts, Ed?
I just wrote a book about Jackie Robinson.
Really?
It's called 42 Faith.
Awesome.
Coming out April 4th.
I did not know.
Just in time for the baseball season, April 4th, and right before the 70th anniversary of his first game. He's one of my heroes.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
You got on the show for the first interview.
But you're my other hero.
Thank you.
But
I've done
I'll come back.
Amazing things. Madison?
Okay, so I have two final thoughts. First, baseball. Shout out to the Cleveland Indians going to the World Series.
All right.
Yeah.
Second thought, something I've been thinking about, talking about all week. I'm sick of the double standards for conservatives online. I'm writing about this in my Washington Times column. Check it out, WashingtonTimes.com, and find me on Twitter.
Terry?
With all of this interesting and fun talk on the show about who won what debate, can you guys remember that we're still frickin' at war? We just lost a Navy EOD guy.
Yes.
We lost a Green Beret the other day. We lost other ones. One of my friends got shot.
We all had them. But there was some good debating in there.
I voted for border security in the United States Senate. I don't want to rip families apart. I don't want to be sending parents away from children.
We have to have strong borders. We have to keep the drugs out of our country.
And then there was all of the puppet bashing.
He has no respect for her.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
But the one thing everyone seemed to agree on was Chris Wallace. Wallace not only was a great moderator, his moderating got us all to agree that he was a great moderator. And really, nobody agrees on anything these days. Maybe we really can all get along after this ends, because no matter who wins, everyone must accept the outcome.
I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
I love that. All right. Trump later clarified.
I would like to promise and pledge to all of my voters and supporters and to all of the people of the United States that I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
Apparently that works with my audience. All right. A lot's been made of this as if Donald messing with the process is some new revelation. But that's Trump. He doesn't want you to know what he's up to. It's the opposite of Hillary, who tells ISIS when we're coming and what we'll be wearing. So, just 17 days left. What's next? A lot can happen in 3 weeks. It's the lifespan of a drone ant. They never work much, then they die once they mate with females. Reminds me of One Direction. Of course, shoes will continue to drop. It'll be like an orgy at a centipede strip club. But what of the Republican Party? After this, counseling will be needed, or it's divorce court. We already know who's getting the House. It's the Dems. If the Republicans don't act fast to fix this mess, they'll lose their shirts too, and no one needs to see Mitch McConnell topless. All right. way, so make sure to send your ballot. We can't take a chance.
Early voting is underway, so make sure you send in your ballot. We cannot take a chance of blowing it. We cannot take a chance.
Meantime, this week, Chris Wallace managed to find the high road in a sewer. By maintaining order, we saw both choices in full glory. An arrogant woman dressed as a cult leader from the future, it's on the right, and a defiant showman who listens to no one, not even his barber. The result in actual debate, one so smooth you could slide down it without a splinter on your naked butt. I tried. Not many surprises. Trump said wrong a lot, and Hillary creepily smiled like one of those old dolls you find in your grandmother's attic that comes to life at night and sits on your chest while you sleep. Welcome back to the show. Here are tonight's guests. He's so sharp, his head is often used to slice pizza. Fox News chief national correspondent Ed Henry. She's so bright she sneezes fireflies. Washington Times columnist Madison Jessiato. He's as tough as a Rubik's Cube and every bit as colorful. U.S. Army Special Forces member Terry Shepard. When the chips are down, she eats them with guac. National Review reporter Catherine Tim. But first, all right, 17 days to go before Courtney Thorne Smith's birthday. Who didn't love a little Melrose Place? But also, it's 17 days to the election. So I bet early voting is underway.